Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another episode of Comic Book Origins. If you're new here, Comic Book Origins is where we take a look at the very first comic book appearance of any character or team. Created in 1985 and made to look like Sting. Not making that up. They were like, hey, we want to draw a Sting character. So much so that they caused a bit of controversy, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. He has a lot of daddies. We already know about Alan Moore, but there's also Rick Veitch, Steve Bissette, John Totleben, Jamie Delano, and John Ridgway. And just as a little FYI piece of information, he had the longest running Vertigo series. Yeah, you know why? Because he's badass. Even my wife, who doesn't read comics, loved the Hellblazer series. Oh, and this is a commissioned video. It was done for a friend who had a birthday named Dalton. He's big into the mystical characters, and this is one of the characters he's into, so thank you very much to CHRONONAUGHT for commissioning this. If you want to commission a video, go on over to Ko-Fi, links in the description below. Just pick a category, and then pick a character, pick a topic, pick a storyline. Either way, we've got all sorts and all kinds, and I'll make the video. And I'm very happy to do that. I think it's really neat seeing who and what is chosen for these things. I've got Snowflame coming up soon. Magica Dispel is coming up soon. So yeah, go on over to Ko-Fi and commission your own video. Now, with all that aside, let's get down to John Constantine's first appearance in Saga the Swamp Thing number 20. Wait, no, this is the controversy. See, right up there in the corner on the right-hand side, they drew a Sting-like character in number 25, and that caused a bit of a controversy where everybody's like, oh no, see, look at this, that's Sting, and they wanted to draw John Constantine like Sting, so that's the first appearance of John Constantine, not his real first appearance. This is it, it's a one-panel thing, but there you go. No, that was done retroactively, actually. They really did just want to draw a Sting character, so they put him in, and that's why he's kind of got that peekabooish thing, making him look like he's far more significant than he was. But it was named John Constantine retroactively, and so, yeah, guys, sorry. I know you love your conspiracy theories and your, gotchas and all that kind of stuff, but, yeah, that's not the first appearance. But let's take a look at the very first appearance of John Constantine, Swamp Thing, number 37. As always, we first start off, we take a look at the cover, and I've got to tell you, yeah, guys, not all of them can be winners. So we've got a dying Swamp Thing. It looks like from some sort of poison, some sort of pollution. And we got the spirit of the Swamp Thing coming from the body as a giant dragonfly. I swear, that thing has to be... Look at it. Look how big it is up against Swamp Thing's spirit arm there. That's like 6 inches big. Holy Toledo, is that a dragonfly? Is it a mosquito? What is that thing? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I never quite cared for this one. I don't know if it's the yellow with the green, but I understand you want to highlight the green, so yellow is a good color for it. But it just never resonated with me. And because it's the first appearance of John Constantine, it's kind of become iconic. I'm not on board with it, though. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, let's move on. The book opens kind of lame, in all honesty, with Abby just in a restaurant saying, well, I'm waiting for my friend who's on vacation. I think she's talking about Swamp Thing. And she's asking for more vegetables. He says there are none. I don't know if that's going to come back later, but the one thing I thought was good is, one, we get the title, Growth Patterns, and two, the can at the bottom says Swamp Thing originally bottled by Wine and Wrightson, the creators of Swamp Thing. And then we cut to day 2, and ladies and gentlemen, the very first appearance of John Constantine, and if you look, he's a lot more posh than we come to know him, in all honesty. And that was one weird thing I thought about the transformation between this book and the Hellblazer. He's wearing gloves. He's got a jacket, which is something he kind of tosses away as he evolves. But here he's talking to his friend Judith, and he says, come on, give us a break. I said he's come. And she says, it's not a he. You're stupid. Do you know that? Completely stupid, like all the others. It's a massive extragalactic energy field that got drawn inside a black hole 8 billion years ago. It's nothing supernatural at all. And yes, I know it's coming back. How long have we got? Oh, God, I don't know. A year, maybe less. Bloody hell, John, look what you've made me do. Are you still having nightmares? No, but that's because I haven't been to sleep for weeks. John, go. Leave me alone. And he walks away. And that is the very first appearance of John Constantine, ladies and gentlemen, setting up some sort of vague entity. I hate it when I struggle over easy words. And yes, I do recognize that a more professional person would cut that part out. And the bottom panel, we see a Sprout, and he's just like, I'm alive! Wait a second. I'm around the swamp. I'm the Swamp Thing, but I thought I was dead. I will need to grow eyes to see the landscape surrounding me, to see the serious clouds high above, trailing like hair across the sky. I must not think too much. I will become exhausted. The sun beats down warm upon my tender new skin. Sleep now. Sleep and grow. On day 4, we see Abby patrolling the swamp. She's just kind of exploring, and she's calling out, Alec? Alec, I feel like you're around here somewhere. I keep getting feelings like you're somewhere near me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining. And she sees the Sprout. Oh, hello. We then cut to a shop where a gentleman we find out whose name is Benjamin, and he stutters, is saying, oh, well, John Constantine, come on in. And John says he's coming back, and Benjamin mentions Cthulhu. And he says, well, how long we have? And Benjamin says, according to my charts, about a year, maybe less. And he says, and after that? And Benjamin says, after that, nothing. On day 6, we're seeing Abby trying to take care of the budding Swamp Thing, and this is the environmental message, or at least how to take care of plants, is he's saying water the soil, not the plant, because the beads could make a magnifying glass for the sun to burn the plant. Don't use insecticides because that poisons the plant, such like that. I kid you not, that's this entire page. Alan Moore worships snake gods, and he's a gardener. Who knew? So Swamp Thing develops a mouth, and in a very quiet and squeaky voice, according to what Abby is saying, he says, no more sprays, it stings. And she's like, okay, well, how about thanks for all the water? Actually, seriously, I do dig these pages because it really shows there's a relationship between who Swamp Thing is and Abby. Not necessarily the physical body, but who it is in the physical body. Yeah, I always thought it was kind of nice. On day 8, we see Constantine again as he visits a nun, and they're talking about who's coming back, and they're using vague language. He's coming back. He's coming back. And the nun says, well, nobody knows who's coming back. We all have different ideas, even bringing up Benjamin's thought that maybe it's Cthulhu. And she looks at him and says, it's Satan, John. Satan is coming back. On day 9, we see Abby and Alec as this a little bit more grown, and he's got eyes now, and she's like, oh, you could see me. And he's like, yes, I could see you, and you're so beautiful. Of course, this makes her laugh because, as she says, he sounds like Jimmy Cricket. What a way to ruin a moment. Just like a woman. I'm just kidding. Please don't at me. On day 10, we see Alec and Abby talking basically about how he died and the guy who killed him, and she asks him, how long are you going to be rooted to this spot? And then hugs him. On day 11, we cut to John Constantine waking up. You were so shattered when you arrived last night, I thought I'd let you sleep and save the questions for later. I guess the situation's pretty bad, huh? And John replies, absolutely bloody dismal. They're all going crackers, except for Benjamin. He was crackers to start with. I suppose it'll all be left up to me in the end. Bloody Americans, all mouths and trousers. And we see him pouring coffee. Bigot. What I don't understand is how these South American people intend to bring him back. To generate the energy necessary for something like that, they'd have to increase the belief levels of the entire population. Yeah, well, that's what they're going to do, isn't it? It's obvious. They'll use all the classic frighteners, werewolves, vampires, haunted houses, dreams. Well, yeah, they needn't bother sending me any nightmares. With me, it'd be like sending coals to Newcastle, and this is the first time we get a mention of Newcastle, which we're going to talk about later in the video. And on day 12, we see Swamp Thing waking up. I awaken. I am striped by the shadows of late afternoon. Abby will be here soon. She is remarkable, adapting so quickly to a situation even I am only starting to comprehend. I regenerated using plant tissue, untouched by the biorestorative formula. I am learning so much about what I am, and the knowledge is gradually changing me. But what is it changing me into? What am I becoming? I bide my time in this place until I'm grown, and I consider this organism that I am. Sometimes I am in awe at its strangeness and complexity. Sometimes I'm almost frightened by my own possibilities. On day 13, John Constantine meets Abby. Emma, listen, it's no good sitting around and fidgeting. I've got to go. And on day 13, John Constantine meets Abby. Emma, listen, it's no good sitting around and fidgeting. I've got to go. Louisiana's a long drive, John. Why don't you wait until morning? Hey, come on. Emma, will you bloody leave it out? I've got to be there by tomorrow morning. You know, I'm starting to think my dad was right. Did I tell you what he said about Englishmen? Yes, you did. No, we're not. And if I ever meet your dad, I'm going to chin him. Pass me those shirts. Get them yourself. Look, what have they got in Louisiana that they don't have in New York? All right, Emma, you asked for it. You really want to know why I'm going to Louisiana? Well, all right, I'll tell you. You see, there's this woman, and we see him waiting in Abby's car. Morning, Miss Cable. How's the boyfriend? Absolutely fantastic introduction between the two characters. Love it. Great scene. It's like cinematic, man. And so John Constantine meets Swamp Thing, who's curious about who he is, and Abby says, I don't know who he is, but he knows all about us. And John says, look, I'm a nasty piece of work, and I threatened Abby. And Swamp Thing gets mad, and he says, look, since you're about as harmful as a turnip, you can't do anything about it, but I think we could help each other. And Swamp Thing says, how can you help me? And he says, because I know what you are, mate, and you don't. So Swamp Thing says, hey, it's slow going, but I'm learning. And Constantine says, you haven't figured it out. If you can regrow your body here, you can regrow it all over the world. It's instant transport. Last plant elemental in the world, and he doesn't even know it. Emma was right. I should have stayed in New York, and we see a picture of the monster that Emma was drawing. But Swamp Thing stops him and says, Abby says, hey, let him go. And he's like, hey, I might be able to learn from this. All the while, we're seeing Emma still drawing that monster. But John decides, okay, he'll help him out, but he's not going to give him any of the answers. He's got to figure things on his own. Abby says, who the heck do you think you are? And John says, doesn't matter who I think I am. It matters who he thinks he is. And until he figures it out, there's going to be a part of his life that's incomplete. So Swamp Thing says, how will I find you? He says, well, that's going to be a problem. I got a lot of friends in a lot of places, and I move around a lot. I hang out with a lot of similarly minded people. And John says, in a week's time, I'm going to be in a place outside of Chicago called Rosewood. Meet me there. That's it. I'm out. He says goodbye. And Swamp Thing says, wait, you can't leave me in the dark like this. And we cut to Emma. After spending so much time drawing this monster, she opens her closet door, and there he's standing. And as soon as she sees him, all of the people that John Constantine has met before start to have episodes as if they're feeling what she's feeling, the fear and everything. And it grows more and more intense as the monster's chasing Emma. Emma wants to escape, so she jumps out a window, causing everybody to tense up. Even the nun rips the head off of a child's doll. Until we see Emma dead on a New York street, and everybody just calms right back down. Day 17, we see Swamp Thing and Abby sitting together. Oh, well, just when I was starting to get used to being taller than you. But I don't mind. It's good to have you back. Hey, you still owe me a honeymoon. I mean, now that I am the bride of the creature, I ought to get the fringe benefits. I thought the next weekend, if the weather holds out, we could head out to that lake we found. We could just, spend some time together. What do you think? Rosewood. What? Rosewood. I know the name from somewhere. I'm sorry, Abby. What were you saying? And she looks like she's about to cry, and she says, nothing. There you go, guys. Swamp Thing number 37, the official first appearance of John Constantine. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I love this book. I mean, this is my introduction to Alan Moore, in all honesty. I read Swamp Thing religiously. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. But, as you noticed, it's not the origin story, and there was an extra put in. So, hey, do the origin. And I talked to Dalton. I was like, what book do you think? Because this is the book I think that really kind of tells you the origin of John Constantine. And that is from his old series, and it's called Hellblazer number 11, Newcastle. Look at this cover, as we always do. We start off with a cover, and this is amazing. Get rid of the writing. Get rid of the credits, the Hellblazer, John Constantine, the DC, all that. Just Newcastle across his face looking like a spirit through a wall. You got the broken doll. An amazing poster cover this could be. Absolutely fantastic. Always love this one. Now, I am going to go through this quickly just to keep the time on the video down a bit, but I will try to service the story as best as I can. We see John Constantine looking around a small town. He says he hasn't been there in 10 years. And he asks a gentleman who's walking a dog, he says, this where the old Casanova Club used to be? Still is, what's left of it since the bombing. All right, if I have a look around, suit yourself. Do you need any help? Nah, thanks. I'm just looking for memories. Okay, so the book's written by Jamie Delano, and he does give off a little bit of politics in this page where he's saying memories are all that's left in these cold, ruined bodies laid out to rot, withering in the seeping acid rain. Gaunt, rusted memorials to those poisoned here and dead around the world, now buried in the decade. In those days we were young but not innocent, but free. Excited, strong. The world was ours to shape according to our will, and here we go. But that was then, before Thatcher, before the Falkland Wars, before the country starving ate its own heart, before hell impaled and toasted us, writhing over the roaring fires of our own inadequacies. Then we were a team, Frank on a holiday from trouble in California, and Judith, who I met at the North Beach ashram studying tantric yoga, Anne Marie, the lonely psychic fat 40 and secretly in love with me, Richie Simpson, computer freak, deadhead and quantum magic pioneer, Gary Lester, musician, counterculture clone and small-time conjurer, Benjamin, the spooky 12-year-old genius and encyclopedia of arcana, and me. And we cut to the group, and they're going into the Club Casanova because they know that things went on there before, so when there were reports of strange doings, they decided this must be the place it all centers upon, and they decide to go on in. They open a door, and immediately the stench hits them. John Constantine explains that he smelled it before when there was an abattoir truck that passed by him. He counts 4 severed heads before he hears screaming that draws them away, and they run upstairs. They run upstairs to find out that the screaming is coming from the club owner's daughter, who it's rumored he's been molesting. As they go to her and try to help, she says, "Don't touch me, I won't do it anymore, I don't like it." And John Constantine calms her down. Okay, it's me, John, Gary, from the band, you remember? So John decides he has to hypnotize the girl to find out what happens, and when he does, she begins to tell about how her father makes her go down where all the other people are getting naked and touching each other, and her father forces her to join in, and she really doesn't like it. And then she describes a Norful thing, a kind of half-dog, half-baboon that rapes and then kills everybody in the room, and John Constantine says, "That's okay, relax, go to sleep, and when you wake up, the Norful thing will be gone." And they're all suggesting ways of getting rid of it. One guy just says, "Let's blow the hell out of it with a shotgun." He says, "No, we need to fight fire with fire." And John Constantine suggests they raise a bigger and badder demon to fight the Norful thing. And they decide, okay, that's what we're going to do. But then they hear a screaming. John Constantine yells, "Benjamin," and they all start running towards the screaming. And we see Benjamin on his stomach. We get a look at the creature. They ask, what the hell is he doing to it? And they're basically alluding to the fact that he's being forcibly entered. And they chase the creature away. And they get Benjamin calmed down. They tell him, go out to the van, get yourself some vodka. And John Constantine starts barking orders. You stay with the kid. You come with me, that kind of thing. Tells Gaz to go get a cat, a black one, and he wants it alive. We cut to Judith and John Constantine getting ready to conjure up the demon, and she asks him, "You kind of turned on by this, aren't you?" And he says, "I wouldn't do it if I wasn't." And he explains basically some of the stuff he told everybody was just busy work to get him out of the way. And Judith says, "I'm scared too," but, it kind of turns her on as well. And the dude that comes back with a cat, and he's like, "Yeah, go back out. I decided against the sacrifice," meaning he wasn't actually supposed to find a cat either. And so the group does what they need to do to conjure up a demon, because, that's always a good idea. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have anything, I don't know. He's trying to wake up a demon called Sagatana, and when he doesn't show up immediately, John Constantine's like, "Come on, you bastard, where are you?" But it seems like the demon's not coming. John Constantine tries the spell again. It still doesn't work. And they're like, well, this book they sold us must be, as they put it, a pig in the poke. And they figure they'll just let the dude with the shotgun shoot the monster. But then nothing is ever what it seems, however hard we wish it were. We see Anna Marie sleeping, and John Constantine comes to her in a dream. Come to me, Anna Marie, I want you. She says yes, and they end up making love when... Ha, woman, you are spoiled. Run now. Run. Get thee to a nunnery. And we see Anne-Marie jumping out a window. We cut back to John Constantine still trying to perform this spell when Astra shows up and says, Astra, what are you doing here? Get out quickly. And she says, but you called me. I heard you. No, I wasn't calling you. Please go back. It's not safe here yet. Where the hell's Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie jumped out the window. Hello, Northful Thing. And we see the group start to panic. And John Constantine warns them about breaking the circle. Nobody breaks the circle, whatever happens. And the Northful Thing shows up. Oh, please, I can't watch it. It's going to eat her. Yeah, and the rest. And they stand there and watch as Astrid calls the Northful Thing over. Come on, boy. Come to Mummy. And then she cuts off its head right in front of them. So John Constantine once again tries to get control of the demon. Sagatana, Duke of Darkness and Despair, I command you under heaven's fire. And the demon doesn't quite like that, saying, I have obeyed you all I choose. Did I not come, although you could not make me? Did I not assume a human form, fair and agreeable, without noise or inconvenience? Did I not dispatch this mad, corrupt deformity? Although I owed your impotent antique magic no allegiance whatsoever? John yells for the demon to leave the child. As you wish, so be it, Magus. The fibers of sanity's rope stretch to extremity, fray and unravel. A hideous miracle transpires before our eyes. Creation. Go, Judith, this is my problem now. You are pathetic, Constantine, wallowing in ignorance. You seek to constrain me? Know you not the root of all power is in naming, and you have no conception of who I am. So the demon says, hey, where you went wrong was you conjured a demon, but you named him wrong, therefore I am not really bound by anything you say. And he actually mocks him for this and then says he's going to take Astrid to hell. And John says, no, if you're going to take anybody, it was my mistake, take me. And he says, no, I already have you. But if you want to go to hell with her, you're more than willing to do so. And so we see John Constantine grab her by the hand and he's walking her into hell. All the while, his friends on the outside, just blow it up. John Constantine is not coming back. Just blow the damn thing. And John leads her right up to the gates of hell and then decides that he's going to fight. And he does so. He pulls out a wand. Something happens and he's returned to his friends. Only problem is all that he brought back from hell of the girl is her arm. And he says, we were in hell. And his friend says, seems like you're still there. The book comes to a close with John Constantine telling us everything that happened to him and the fact that, yes, in the end, the demon got everybody. But like I say, we all make mistakes. And the demon was finally telling... So the book ends as we find out what happened to all of John Constantine's friends, and just as the demon promised, hell took every one of them. But like I say, we all make mistakes, and the demon's was finally telling me his name, Nurgle. Nurgle. This is where we started it, and this is where we'll finish it. This is the killing ground where I take my revenge just as soon as I work out exactly how. It's a funny thing. I've only just realized that Casanova means Newcastle. Perhaps that's what the fortune teller on Collection Pier meant when she said philandering would be my downfall. No, well, we'll see. There you go, gang. John Constantine, the origin, or at least the closest thing you're going to get to an origin of John Constantine and why he does the things he does. And, of course, the first appearance. I think they're both awesome. Very well-written books. Hellblazer was, in my opinion, excellent for the first, I would say, 50, 60 issues. Then it kind of tapered off a little bit. But still something you should go back and check out. I love this story. If you're ever wondering why I do comic book origin the way I do, it's because I don't want to exactly read the book, even though I do sometimes read passages. I want to tell the book. That way, when you're reading it, you can actually get all the nuance and everything. I just want to tell you the events of the book and everything. And this is something I still, even though you watch this video, go and read these stories. You're going to be entranced. It's just amazing stories. Anyway, let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Don't forget to click like and share. Sharing is going to help out because YouTube stopped sharing my videos at all. As a matter of fact, they kind of kill it after 300 views. They just absolutely kill it. So yeah, definitely do that. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and hit that notification bell because that's the only thing that YouTube's going to pay attention to anyway. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon, drop $1 in the till or Ko-Fi, and help us keep the lights on. Help us keep making videos for you. And if you want me to work for a living, do as CHRONONAUGHT did for this video and go over to Ko-Fi, commission a video. Just pick whatever topic you want and whatever character, storyline, list, or whatever have you. And there you go. I'll do a video on it. And I'd like to thank him and everybody who's already done this, and to everyone, all of the true believers. Thank you.